I'm Simon Ward, alongside me Matt Perry. Toulouse have had to accept an invitation they really didn't want. Their losses at Leicester and the Ospreys means that they make their debut in the Amlin Challenge Cup this evening, a new page in their European history that no doubt they were hoping they didn't have to write.
Yeah, good evening, Wardy, and welcome to everyone at home. It is an unusual situation for Toulouse. However, they're always good in latter stages of tournaments, regardless of which one it is. They made 13 changes, still have 11 internationals. There should be no excuses. They'll probably try and keep the ball away from the set piece this evening, the line out and the scrum, and quickly get into their phase play. They love an offload, utilising the wide open spaces. That's their natural game. Slightly lightweight in the pack tonight compared to Perpignan, but they have much more pace out wide, so look to utilise it with the likes of Medard, Matanevu and Dongui.
Florian Fritz leading the team out this evening. There is Books back in the front line, back in the front row. 90 points to prove, no doubt, though the thought is that this will be his last season before moving on to pastures new. There is Edwin Macca, 6'8", 22.5 stone. No doubt we are going to be seeing a lot of him, and Julien Galland, the number 8, just behind him before the end of this evening. Well, there may be a few variations for Heineken Cup qualification for the home side, but Perpignan know that this route to Europe's top table allows them to be in control of their own destiny.
Yeah, it certainly does. For Perpignan, this is an avenue to Europe next year. They're slightly struggling in the top 14, coming off the back of 2 defeats. They have a massive pack, especially in the back row. Tuilagi, Strokosh and Leo. Hook will mix it up, his kicking game short and long, and expect them to take the ball up in the middle. 2 bludgeoning Tongans in the centres. Good footballers in the back 3, but not the pace of Toulouse. I think the physicality, Wardy, of tonight's game will be all to see. There's a significant amount of South Sea Islanders on show.
Yes, physicality will no doubt be a key part of this game. You can see in the faces of the Perpignan side what this means to them. Now we're going to have a minute's applause before the kick-off of this game. The unfortunate news that Samuel Inaulu, the Fijian winger who used to play for Perpignan, 5 years he appeared in the red and gold, or the blood and gold I should say, but was killed in a car crash in Bergerac last weekend. And both teams are going to have a minute's applause. It's going to be particularly relevant, of course, to Toulouse, who lost their own Fijian flyer, Malele Kunavore, last November. Perpignan remembers Samuel Inaulu. You can see the emotion in the eyes of Nicolas Mas, a man who played many times with him. Alain Roland, a familiar figure, especially for these French encounters. His bilingual capacity is so useful in these sorts of encounters.
Time on.
It's going to be fascinating to see tactically how this pans out, and also mentally and emotionally where it sits. Certainly it's the home side that will have the swell of support. Burgess back to box 6. And a good clearance kick, but you can see Perpignan looking to get pace on the game straight away. Tuilagi head down. No thought of a sidestep from the Perpignan number 8. Hands from young Tafefenua. Perpignan will be looking just to get through the first minute without conceding a try last week. It was a hook pass that was intercepted by Max Evans, gave Castres a try inside the first 60 seconds, and from that moment Castres never were behind in the game and won in the end by a solitary point. But that's a good start from Perpignan, and the penalty just reward for their early efforts.
Yeah, excellent start from Perpignan. We see Tuilagi here. Look at the size of him. It takes 2-3 men to take him down, but really good intent. Pace at which Perpignan play the game this evening will show in the first 20 minutes. See how Toulouse are on the road and whether they're actually up for it.
So James Hook is going to get this first pot at the sticks inside the first 2 minutes. Been kicking well for Perpignan in the top 14, over 242 points to his name. Many of those, of course, kicks from the tee. 75% is a reasonable return, I guess, for a top-notch kicker. Welsh international settles himself down. Already got 23 points against Toulouse in the 2 matches this season. Make that 26 and make that Perpignan on the board.
A nice strike there from Hook. Very comfortable in the 10 position. I think we'll see this evening he'll be mixing his kicking game up. He's got a very good short kicking game. Knows where the space is, right in behind that Toulouse defence, and it's an excellent nudge to start off with.
Warren Gatland obviously in English shores for the course of this weekend, but no doubt he'll be having a look at this game with James Hook, perhaps an outsider for the Lions tour, as he was in South Africa 4 years ago, because of the variation, because of the flexibility that he brings to that backline and what he can cover. There's another man who's got plenty of flexibility, Maxime Médard, in the fullback berth this evening. Matanavu, elusive character, arch try-poacher if ever there was one. He's opting to put his team into the right sort of areas. Beautifully weighted kick, forcing Hook to clear his lines, and that's a great response. Well, Médard not waiting, getting the call from Luke Burgess, and the Australian international taking Toulouse into opposition territory. Already announced that he will be going back to Super Rugby next season. Let's see whether it's going to be back to his old Waratahs team or indeed the Brumbies. Contact area very messy early on.
Yeah, that contact area this evening will be crucial to this game. You see there, Toulouse did not resource it well enough. They didn't get enough men behind the ball to really protect it. Possession in the game these days is key. We see here Perpignan, really good body height, getting over the top of the ball and driving through.
The early efforts there of the two props, Sebastian Taufifenur and Nicolas Mas, driving the opposition off the ball, giving them the penalty. Blood and Gold's out in full force. It kind of says something about the Catalan temperament. When you don't have red and yellows, you have blood and gold, and it says a lot, doesn't it, for Marc Delpuig's side and the region in which they operate.
Yeah, it certainly does. The passion in the Catalan region. They love their rugby. Got a good history established in 1902, so they have the legacy there.
And Leo taking safely at the tail. This is always an important marker when the two packs collide in the set piece in scrum and line out. Now this driving maul, proving to the home fans that their numbers 1 to 8 are every bit as good as their opposition this evening. Penalty is there for the home side should they need it, but Dan Leo pressing forward. Again they go. This time it's Mas who breaks off. Cazenave flips it out. James Hook wasn't happy with the alignment of his backs there, opting to take the contact. but the continuity's still there. Carla sets it back, and Strogosz, the Scottish international, comes round. Toulouse have stepped up too quickly, been picked up by Michel Roland. International hooker sets it back once again. Look at the rhythm that Perpignan have already got into their play. And Mahina with his immense strength. Toulouse really under the cosh. Can they make it count? No, Perpignan. Sebastian Taofifanua bundles his way forward and gets the try. Well, what a score. He scored last week off the bench against Castres, and now within 7 minutes, the young prop has shown he has got the try-scoring capabilities.
Excellent try for Perpignan. I mean, who's going to stop that man? A bit of a mismatch there in terms of physicality, but just the framework in which Perpignan have started this game, keeping the ball. They went to 7, 8, 9 phases. This is great teamwork in the tight. The pack know exactly what they're trying to do. The ball goes out to Elangi, and look at that, trying to get underneath him over the top, but just the power and pace to get over that line for Taofifanua.
Well, he's a bowling ball of a prop, isn't he? He just, because of the height that he keeps, he's only, what, 5'10", but when you put 20 stone at that sort of height, it's so difficult, as you say, to get under and to halt. And that was, well finished off by the young loose head.
I think one of the Toulouse players there tried to wood chop him, go low, but his body height was so strong. You could see it in his core. Stayed on his feet and went over that for that 5 meters to score.
And that is a quite superb compliment from James Hook from the tee, and the perfect start for Perpignan. Well, Sebastian Taofifanua, that's his 3rd try of the season. Funny enough, both he and his brother scored against Mont-de-Marsan, ironically the place of their birth. As I say, scored last week against Castres, showing it's no fluke this week.
Now you can see the leg drive in that try. He had a lot to do, had 3 or 4 men on him, and he just actually pumped his legs.
Take from Adrien Plante. I tell you, there's a bit of history between these two. Perpignan have already done the double over Toulouse this season. They won the first game in Barcelona back in September. Fairly emphatically, has to be said, scored 5 tries to 2, and then went to the Stade Ernest Vallon. Managed to hold on to a 19-18 victory. Their first time they'd won away at the Stade Ernest Vallon in 31 years, and the first time Toulouse had lost at home in 3 years. But there was a bit of afters from it. Guy Neves, his 1000th match, not the way that he wanted to finish it, but Adrien Plante got a 20-day suspension for a high tackle on Yves Tanguy. And also Marc Delpoux got a similar suspension for abusing the officials on that day. So there may be a few spices already in the mix of this game that we shall see over the course of the next 70 minutes. Great take from Hook. James Hook really has the wind in his sails this evening. Loving the big stage. On this occasion, just holding on slightly too long.
Slightly unfortunate there for Perpignan. Lovely footwork from Hook to get through the Toulouse defence, but again, just isolated. You see here, nice feet. A great body position there from Toulouse, coming over the ball, and Perpignan not quite quick enough to get to Hook to secure the possession.
Lionel Boxis with his first kick of the evening. About touchline conversions, it was his touchline conversion against Racing last week that secured victory for Toulouse in that huge match at the Stade de France. And now sliding 3 points between the posts for the visitors this evening. back to James Hook, it was quite fascinating to realise that through the Six Nations, he actually just played 26 minutes of rugby in all 5 Six Nations games. And of course, didn't even come off the bench against France. That must have hurt. But really so underused by Rob Howling.
Yeah, he'll be fresh, Woody. I think that's...
Yeah, you might say that. Certainly be loving the chance to really get on the big stage and show what he can do, won't he?
Exactly right.
Presentation not good from Toulouse and forcing the knock on.
It's an interesting point as well you make there, just in terms of the Lions, and it's been a really long, hard season. Think about the Lions, you know, they're going to play to July, and if you've got players like Hook, who are feeling fresh, who are, you know, almost in the mid kind of prime of their season, thinking, oh, I've got the legs here. You know, he'd be a good option to take.
Very interesting to see when the teams announce the make for the 30th, whether some of the wild cards that no doubt will be in Gatland's mix include the likes of a James Hook type character that can cover at least 3 positions. Keeping the Toulouse defence interested, and on that occasion Fiku and Fritz doing the job that was called on them as Farid Sid there wearing 14 tried to come through on the crash ball.
We see Sid there take it up, and again, very good body position from Toulouse in defence. A really good lesson there, getting over the ball, keeping your core strong. These days, if you're not onto your teammate within the split second, you are penalised.
Talk about the teams laying down the markers. Of course, the officials do as well in these first 10, 15 minutes, the rhythm that they want, what is allowed and not allowed. These teams, though, will be used to Alain Roland. Toulouse had him on the whistle for the Ospreys game in the pool stages. Perpignan certainly have memories of when he ran the quarterfinals in 2011. And they beat Toulon, of course, over the border in Barcelona. See the pick up there from the big Georgian tight head. Cacavan brought in to replace Dan Human from Brive when Human chose to retire. Really has proved his worth in every which way this season for Toulouse. Made his debut for Georgia at just 18 years of age. You see through the top 14 the value of the likes of Cacavan. There's so many Eastern European props within the French domestic league. So Nicolas just getting some attention. He's another one who'll be making the most of the opportunity to play in the back row this evening. To talk about whether he's going to be on the move at the end of the season. Montpellier and Stade Francais move to possible destinations.
So much part of the game these days. Players moving. It seems that clubs anywhere in Europe, anywhere in the world are always in transition. But they can't use that as an excuse. You know, you have to get your framework, your culture, what you're looking to achieve, and then really get the players in and just cope with the change that is just apparent in the game these days.
Particularly in the French game, it's very obvious that the rumours start very early about coaches moving, about players moving, though they're not allowed to officially announce it till April the 20th, and then the smoke and the mirrors will be removed and we'll see the true facts about the movement for next season. Great break from Nicolas Mas, but Cazenave unable to augment it. I think the referee has said play on, so they will try and set up another attack, moving it wider this time. Stunting the momentum for the moment, but the ball still there for the home side. The great power and reach of Taofifanua, the elder.
Il faut rester debout. Vous pouvez jouer le ballon par terre, s'il vous plaît.
Mass pause for concern with that right leg. Mass, another one who's announced unofficially that he's going to be leaving, and for a man that's in his 13th season for Perpignan, it was a huge shock when he said he was going to be going to play for Montpellier from next season. Captain for so long and a talismanic character when Bernard Guter stopped playing for the Blood and Golds.
He's a hometown boy, isn't he, Mass? And he'll be disappointed.
Been the rock that not only Perpignan have been building on, but of course France as well. Started all the Six Nations games this year. A real dependable character, but looks like he's going to be struggling to stay in this game. Sipulu, the Tongan tight head, there he is wearing 18. Trots on to get an earlier experience of the game than he was expecting. Quarter of an hour gone.
Quite nice, isn't it, when Mass unfortunately has to come off and someone with the size of Pulu enters the fray. He is a massive man.
Yeah, we talk about the Georgians and the Eastern Europeans. Well, the Tongans do their bit as well in the top 14 as Nicolas Mass gets the appreciation of the locals. Mass, of course, the only remaining survivor of the two teams that met in the 2003 Heineken Cup final between these two. Jean-Baptiste Brooks was on the opposite side on that day. Jean was at 12, of course Savat and Ambelay on the bench. So how times have changed since then.
First knock on, second knock on.
Well, it's all about Perpignan so far in this first quarter of an hour. Toulouse really haven't had an attack worthy of the name. And Hume just unable to continue on to the next phase. Hume, another one, talking about levers, another one who's supposedly going to be retiring at the end of this season. He's in his 9th year. Henry Tuolangi, how long's he got to go? 36 years of age.
Touch! Set!
Who's getting the benefit of that scrum? Sipulu just being fast-tracked into the rhythm of the set piece. You know, Boxes sweeping the ball upfield. Sipulu, 29 times been capped for Tonga. 3 World Cups he's experienced. Betsy hits his target and standing out at first receiver for that first phase of attacks. Doesn't get him over the gain line, but the ball is still there for Pooks. Boxes with the up and under, great height on it. Hume doesn't take the ball though, Biku does. Biku with the strength to stay strong in the tackle, waiting for the support. Now the Toulouse team lined up to the left. Boxes with the cross kick pass. Midar sweeps it back. Edwin Maka with the strength to stand tall. It's not difficult when you're 6'8", 22.5 stone. And the ball there for Toulouse, and the alarm bells ringing for the home side. That was good work from Farid Sid. How important that move was from defence, and suddenly Perpignan mounting a counter-attack. Well, just as they thought they were going to get away. Alain Roland not happy with the follow-up support. You can see the danger that Toulouse possess. It's innate within their DNA, just to counter-attack at the the merest hint of opportunity.
Yeah, as we see, Perpignan obviously snuffled the ball at the end there. The infringement is against them, but again, Toulouse, they just mix their game up so well. You know, they always look to do something completely different. You see here, Boxy, just a lovely languid crossfield kick, put pressure on. Nice take here, Medard just taps it back. And again, it's just, you know, they love to get into these open spaces. We see Maka there, just comfortable getting into the open space. And I think the key part there was Farid Sid come out and nailed Toulouse at the death, or that could have been a try. Great kick though from Boxy, and they're back in it.
Perpignan have been warned that Boxy is on form, but great manual dexterity and awareness there from Maxime Medard. Back the ball back into Edwin Maka's path. And 3 points the result. Now, just that 4 points difference between the two teams as we come to the end of a first quarter in which the home side have really dominated. Got that try from Sebastian Taufifenua. But Toulouse know all about resilience, know all about patience and taking their time and taking their opportunities.
Yeah, well, Toulouse are a team that can score from anywhere. They have the ability to offload. They have momentum and pace in their game where they can score a try in 10 seconds if they're on their top form. But at the moment, first 20 minutes of this game, Perpignan have just had more possession and more control.
Control from the line out that produces the ball. It's spun wide. Gavin Hume trying to get the ball through the tackle. Navu lynching onto Hume's back to make sure that ball wasn't going to be freed up.
See here, Hume tries to go into the space, but good defence from Toulouse back three. Matanevu there, just shepherding him into touch.
Good time from that box kick. Safe and secure. On that far side, Luke Pearce. Into the England duo running the touchlines. Greg Garner on this near side. And Gerardo, French international hooker, of course, came off the bench during the Six Nations against Scotland and Ireland. Finds Leo once again. Oh, the little flip out the back door by Cazenave. The reverse pass, don't see much of those since Gareth Edwards retired. Again though, Alan Roland not happy with the work at the contact area, and this is becoming a recurring theme now for Perpignan, cause for concern.
Yeah, it is. Probably 3 or 4 times now. And the player goes to ground. As we see here, Fuikala just goes to ground, and you see just not quite getting underneath the Toulouse defence. They're going too high in at the breakdown, and that's allowing the Toulouse players to stay on their feet and just get over the ball and get their hands on.
Well, this penalty range, what's that, 48 metres, maybe approaching 49 metres, but you know, Boxis has dynamite in these boots. He has no problem with the range, and he has no problem with the accuracy either. What a kick that is from the Toulouse 10. It brings his team back within the solitary point, and when you consider how the possession and territory has gone, Guy Neves and Jean-Baptiste Elasalde will be more than happy with that, I suspect, on the way the first quarter has panned out.
Yep, 3 penalties, and Boxis, you know, the way he kicks, very languid, but he can kick it from anywhere.
Alistair, Toulouse's normal kicker, has had a hip problem last weekend, but said to have passed his fitness test, but not included in the match day.
You can't play the ball, you can't use your hands in a ruck.
And Leo.
You picked it yet? Away.
Alan Roland not taking any nonsense from the big Samoan international.
Again, over the top. Just, that's messy, isn't it? Trying to get his hands on, not in a secure position.
Bill Cooks, new Perpignan head coach, came in from Bordeaux-Bègles. Played for Perpignan back in the 90s, former number 8. Revitalised Perpignan. Key character in the makeover that the team have had to operate this season. Again, the penalty goes against Perpignan. This time, it's a high tackle, and Alain Roland is going to lose patience fairly quickly. It's Sebastian Valmaina.
No, but the thing about it is he still took him around the neck, all right? Now listen, that's 2 penalties we've had against him in 30 seconds, okay? Sort it out.
The warning is there to Henry Tuolangi and his team.
Please.
Kind of difficult, I guess, when you're 6'7" to come down, but the laws are the laws for all 15 men on that pitch. And that looked awkward tackle as well.
There's a slight height difference there, wasn't Valmaina? I mean, that's illegal. Toulouse edging their way back into this game, and a team that's had all the possession leading up to this first 25 minutes, unless you're disciplined, you're going to be behind.
So Nicola be able to retake his feet. The tackle, best of times, let alone the high tackle. Toulouse now, they're going to look at another opportunity for points. And for the first time in this game, opportunity to take the lead. Well, there was never any doubt from the moment the ball left the tee. And that is now 6 points in 5 minutes. And Toulouse, for the first time, are now in the lead.
Yeah, quite a change in the last 5 minutes. The discipline from Perpignan, very poor in just this 5 minutes. Too many infringements, and the way Boxis is kicking, it's like almost like a lazy 7-iron from 40 metres at the moment.
As I say, it's all about the rhythm, and you can hear the sweetness of the strike. Boxis certainly is in the zone in terms of the way he's kicking off the tee. Cacavan sets up, they're up just outside the 22. Boxis with that huge missed pass to invite Lamberley to attack. Macca on his shoulder, looking for the offload. Toulouse now beginning to find their rhythm. Doesn't matter where they're playing, they keep that ball moving. Fritz out to Matanavu, the elusive Fijian, getting his team up into opposition territory. Now, speed of the ball, key. Perpignan trying to slow it down, and I think there's going to be a yellow card now. Alain Roland has had enough. Perpignan's ill discipline is going to cost them.
Now. You've given away a lot of silly penalties. Do you want to have a word? Because the next guy's going in the bin, okay?
Well, I thought he was going to his pocket there. Adrien Plante, well, the Gallic shrug of the shoulders, but Perpignan have to be more precise in their discipline, because Alain Roland, as we know, is not afraid to show cards.
No, he's certainly not, and actually I thought he was going to get one out then. But the level of ill discipline from Perpignan in this middle part of the field has really affected them. I think, you know, for Tuolangi to get his team together.
Well, just as you thought, Boxis could not miss anything. He hooks that one horribly, and that is a big let-off for Adrien Plante and the Perpignan side.
Yeah, I said he was kicking with a lazy 7-iron. That was a snap hook, wasn't it? That's out of bounds, through off the tee.
That was like one of my on-drives in cricket. I don't know about golf. James Hook with the restart. Perpignan have to settle themselves down now. It's all been about Toulouse in this last 10 minutes. The Perpignan team find themselves on the back foot, having opened so encouragingly. Gallen just bouncing off his own player to cede possession on that occasion.
To be fair, Wardy, I mean, Toulouse have not done much in the last 10 minutes. In fact, they've done nothing.
But they don't need to, do they? This is what I'm saying, that their class of how to win a game, their experience, their knowledge is such that they don't seem to be doing anything until suddenly they will burst. And Perpignan have handed them the lead in these last 10, 15 minutes or so. Just a few nerves in the crowd. Anxiety creeping in. Plenty of weight in that Toulouse pack. And Gallen. There's 19 stone, the number 8, and then Macker in front of him.
Touch! Set!
Secure scrum though from Perpignan. And the numbers out to the left. Farid Sid though can't get the ball away, wrapped up by Luke Burgess. Cazenave releases his back line once again. Gavin Hume. Such a dependable player, Hume. Vital try in that game at Stade Ernest Vallon, 10 minutes from the end. Cazenave again, keeping that rhythm. Henry Tuolangi, well, trying to keep the ball moving. In the end, threw it away to Yves Dongui. Well, anything you can do, Florian Fritz responds in kind. I think the referee has seen a slight forward pass there.
Yeah, interestingly, Tuolangi's always looking to get the ball out of the tackle. High risk a couple of times. Hasn't quite gone to his teammate. But there is an intent there to almost play Toulouse at their own game, get into the space. Tuolangi's running really hard in that midfield.
As you mentioned, Perpignan don't really have the pace in their back three that Toulouse do. So if they're pulled into that sort of game, is that the right move for Delpuc's side? Will he be happy with that sort of tactical appreciation?
Well, I think to beat a team like Toulouse, you have to, you know, you can't depend on a big pack hook kicking the ball and just using your midfield up the centre. You've got to do something different. And at the moment, Tuolangi's just playing quite wide, and they're using him in the 13 channel to kind of get into the likes of Fritz and Fico, the young 19-year-old, to kind of unlock. It's not quite happening at the moment, but at least they're trying to do something different.
Crouch! Touch! Set!
Burgess trying to ruin that. Gallen has to pick up on the retreat. Boxy's forced into the kick. It's a real wiper of a kick that forces Hume deep into his own 22. Good response from South African. Half an hour gone then, just 2 points between the sides. Perpignan with that bright start that allowed Sebastian Taufifenua to go in, put them quickly into double figures. But the ill discipline from the hosts has given the opportunity, which Boxis has taken in the most part, to kick points from the tee. Grazzi, the Georgian international, I'm not sure that quite went to plan, but the ball in the end is in the hands of Edwin Macker, and like his uncles Isatola and Finau, the only way is the straight way for the Mackers. He does his job so well. Welcoming committee in the Perpignan midfield doing its job, but the ball's still there for Toulouse. You can see their eagerness to keep the ball moving, waiting for the gap to open up. In the end, Medard puts boot to ball. Matanavu hacks it through. Where's the cover? It's not there. The Fijians' footballing skills, well, I was going to say it was just about to pop up, but it just didn't work for the Fijian on that occasion. Just the opportunity, and suddenly Toulouse are gone.
Yeah, quite messy at the back here from Perpignan. Good opportunistic hack through there from Matanevu. But just the bounce of the ball, couldn't control it. Just needed to collect it here, and then a quick offload. And you think Toulouse would have scored. They're so good at taking those opportunities, but a team which is full of classy footballers just failed on that occasion.
Matanevu certainly knows his way to the try line. Top try scorer in Pro Dirt when he was with Mont-de-Marsan. 16 times he crossed the whitewash then. Transferred those talents to Toulouse. Joint top try scorer for them last season with Yves Dongui. 10 times, and he's already been across the line on 8 occasions this season. I'm sure that Perpignan don't need warning about the talents that Toulouse have on the wings, let alone anywhere else.
Keep it up there. Keep it up there as well.
Almost manufactured the opportunity there on his own.
Too long.
They're defending quite well at the moment, aren't they, Perpignan? They're flying from outside to in, which means that the wingers aren't really getting an opportunity to take that ball on out in the wide spaces. Quite a clever ploy by Perpignan, but just their ill-discipline at the breakdown is why Toulouse are leading at this point.
James Hook shifting the ball on to Gavin Hume to clear the line. A tighter angle, and it's allowed Toulouse to run the ball back with Midart. With knee injury in last year's Six Nations that forced surgery, but seems to be back to full fitness now. Enjoys wearing the 15 shirt. Gives him license to roam. This time, the decision goes Perpignan's way, and it's Toulouse who have to think again.
It was hands in there, wasn't it?
Amlin, one of the pillars, I suppose, of Toulouse over recent years, now in his 13th season. On that occasion, getting his hands involved in the ruck, and the referee spot on position, you can see there. Monsieur Roland, I should say Mr. Roland, should know he's Irish, for goodness sake.
Very official. Mr. Roland. That was slightly Irish-American.
It was. I don't know whether he's ever been to Boston, but I'm sure he knows where it is. Galland knows where the Perpignan defensive line is, and suddenly the ball's out to Gaël Ficou. Again, the little kick on this occasion, just putting the Perpignan defence under pressure, forcing them to turn, backtrack, changing the options. Intelligent back play there. Lamberley getting his mitts in front of Mahina. Toulouse now beginning to build up their continuity. Pressure behind Gerardo, finds down Leo though. Good work from the two line-out components for Perpignan. Sebastian Taufifenua struggling to get his team over the gain line, and Cazenave is forced into the box kick.
Yeah, okay. Cease.
Greg Garner just informing Roland that Lamberley was the miscreant in that line out. Lamberley now 31 years of age. Talk about the makeover that Perpignan have had and are having at the moment. It will be that Toulouse have a similar regeneration, should we say, at the end of the season. Likes of Jean Boyot, veteran flanker, supposed to be moving on to Lyon. Josian likewise, or maybe back to his first club, Colomiers. Lots of familiar names maybe disappearing at the end of the season for Guy Neves, although one is returning. We hear Cedric Heymans is going to be retiring from playing rugby for Bayonne, and he's going to be back coaching Les Espoirs as of next season. They really do have a boot room philosophy at Toulouse, which has seen so many players like Savat, of course, recently turned straight into coaches.
Gives them continuity in their culture as we see Perpignan take the ball up here.
Power play from the Perpignan pack, forcing themselves towards that Toulouse try line. Getting the structure of them all to carry on as it turns into a ruck. The forwards having to pick and drive now around the fringe. Cazenave. He looses to get involved. Henry Tuolangi, skipper this evening, taking on the responsibility. Cuts back inside. It's Farid Sid. Farid Sid has got the second try. Farid Sid has pushed Perpignan back into the lead, and don't they love it?
Excellent finish there from Sid, but it was made by Maffei. Stayed on his feet, took the inside line, and then a lovely offload. And then for any winger, look at this tracking ability. So we see here, Maffei just takes it up, stays in his seat, and then the purest of offloads. And again, as Maffei takes it up, just, oh, that is sublime. You could see it was just tracking behind Maffei and then appeared into the space, and just a sublime offload to get Perpignan's second try.
Farid Sid scored in that game in Barcelona, and just able to ricochet off the tackles to get himself over the try line. But as you say, Matt, Femi Maffei with the beautiful dexterity, the handling ability to spot the opportunity. He was part of that Munster team that played against Toulouse in the Heineken Cup final, probably 5 years ago now. Used to call him Larry Murphy in Munster. I'm not sure what the French version is. James Hook looking to add to the penalty and earlier conversion, and as we look towards the half-time break, psychologically those 2 points added to the 5 will be huge in just solidifying the resolve of the home side now.
Yeah, certainly will, as we see just the try again. Maffei wasn't looking, but just knew where his teammate was. Great play from both of them to have the understanding and spatial awareness to finish that try off. But I think this first half, it's been interesting, bit of an arm wrestle, probably a fair reflection. First 20 minutes was good possession from Perpignan. The next 5 minutes was ill discipline. Too many penalties away, Buxis nailing the kicks. And then Toulouse slightly got back into it, but a very well-finished try at the death.
Well, a well-finished half for the home side. They started so brightly with that try from Sebastian Taufifenua. They finished it well as well with that try from Farid Sid. In between, it's been the boot of Buxis that has put Toulouse into contention. But at half-time, Perpignan in the lead. A fascinating second 40 in prospect. It's the home side leading 17 points to 12 at the break. Welcome back for the second half of this Amlin Challenge Cup quarter-final. I'm Simon Ward, alongside me Matt Perry. 5 points the difference, the buffer for Perpignan from that first 40, and the other quarter-final going on concurrently. It's a similar buffer, but this time it's for Leinster at Adams Park. Leinster in many ways, Matt, in a similar predicament, position to Toulouse, European giants that are having to get used to a new competition. How do you perceive the mindset of Toulouse through that first half?
Well, interestingly, you know, they still have 11 internationals. The strength and quality of their side is immense. They'll want to win. They're a winning team in Europe especially, and I don't really consider that even this is the Amlin. They won't want to do the best they can. I think they haven't played to any of the standard that we expect of Toulouse. They're probably being about 20 or 30% of what they can do. Perpignan have had most of the possession, but Toulouse are just hanging on in there, and like any good top European side, if you hang in there and then you explode, which we know Toulouse can, and you get your mindset right for the full 80 minutes, you know, then they can certainly win this game and get through to the semis.
I think it's important to mention that this is really a season of change for Perpignan. You go back to 2009 when they lifted the Breclet de Brennus, having been top 14 champions. Then the financial reality really kicked in, and you know, you think about some of the more familiar names that we're used to in the Perpignan lineup. You know, the Marius Tinkus, Perry Freshwater, Olibo, Alvarez Carelis in the pack. Damien Chouli went off to Clermont, Maxime Mermoz to Toulon, Porrical to Stade Francais. They're really having to change not only the personnel, but also off the pitch as well. Paul Gauze, their president, elected as president of the governing body, the LNR. So Daniel Besson has taken that on. And it is a real different feel around Perpignan and just almost a makeover that's going on.
Yeah, it is. It's a new generation of a side, isn't it? A lot of players, like you say, leaving or in transition, had some injuries as well. And I think the nature of the game for not only Perpignan, but for most sides is that transition. You have to cope with the change. But one thing Toulouse have done well is, you know, talk to, the kind of backroom mentality is they've continued their culture and framework of how they're going to play. And I think Perpignan, at the moment, they're a mid-table side, but they're in a regenerative kind of period of their legacy and history.
Well, Toulouse sitting at third in the top 14. They're 7 points away from those automatic semi-final places. But right now they're 5 points away from the semi-final in the Amlin Challenge Cup. What can they do to change that in this final 40? Certainly we talk about change, and there's been change going on within Toulouse as well. They haven't been in Les Barrages, the playoff places for the semi-final, for a good couple of years now, as Florian Fritz tries to dent the Perpignan defensive line. Macau picks up. No thought of a sidestep from him, and the ball comes loose. Kisipulu drives his team away. Shunted on to Daniel Leo. I'm not sure that he was expecting to make the decisions as to whether the next play was going to be, but it's still there for the home side. Perpignan trying to build up their rhythm early on in this second half. They had such a good start to the first half, a little frenetic, but they kept hold of the ball. And ultimately came up with that try for Sebastian Taufifenua. Similar mindset for this second half. Adrian Ponte setting the ball back. Cazenave really with the power to threaten the pillar defenders for Toulouse. And the forwards have to come back and set up stall over Farid Sid's body. And James Hook tries to put the pressure on Timothy Matanavu, wearing 14 for Toulouse this evening. Getting through the phases, gradually working their way up over halfway. Patience has to be there. Kisipulu takes them up to the Toulouse 10-metre line. And they look to Hook to spark something. His footwork takes him through the gain line. But Cazenave takes ball and Toulouse defender at the same time. Now it comes loose. Oh, great move from Varmaina, but the ball not free. It's going to be Kisipulu going over for the try, but it was never going to be counted. Luke Pearce is going to instruct the referee. Well, disappointment. Here's the break from the huge Perpignan second row.
Just that final pass, isn't it? A couple of occasions this evening, both sides just getting behind each other, and then that interlinking play. There's a knockdown ball there from Toulouse.
There in the crowd is Paul Gauze, right in the middle of the picture. Huge character in every way, shape and form. He'll be happy with the way that Perpignan have started. I'm not sure that William Servat and the rest of the Toulouse coaching committee will be quite so pleased with the start of this second half. The second half seen it change in the Perpignan front row. Sebastian Taufifenua has been replaced by Sono Tamalolo, and there is Carl Chateau coming on to the open side for Toulouse. Chateau with quite a pedigree already, just 20 years of age, captain of the French under-20 side that competed in the Junior World Championships last year. Decision going against Perpignan, and all that pressure, all that effort comes to naught. Another replacement, David. Real Scott Gibbs type of a centre. Fast, powerful and packed.
He's got bigger guns than you. Only just, Morty, only just. Not sure about
I haven't been to the gym today, what can I tell you?
Are you wearing the tight top?
He's certainly got bigger tattoos. A real impact player off the bench, David. His career was stunted so dreadfully two seasons ago. He had a horrible double fracture of the leg in pre-season training. But removed him for a whole season. Not sure whether he's going to be able to add to his 4 caps for his national side, but certainly adds a different dynamic to this Toulouse side. Round the corner they come with Jean-Baptiste Poux leading the way. Forwards setting up, willing and waiting. Now it's put out into the backs. Ficou. Such an entrance on the European rugby field with that man of the match try-scoring performance against Leicester back in October. Boxis with the huge drop goal. Well, Boxis has been known to have an infatuation with drop goals. Remember, it's Dowie Morris's favourite subject for quite some time, was the amount of tries that Boxis has gone with. From wherever he is on the park, it doesn't seem to matter. He is a bit of a maverick character, Lionel Boxis. I remember doing a game when he was playing for Stade Francais against Toulon. Refused to field the ball thrown from his scrum half in front of his post, tried to volley it away, took an air shot and yielded a try to Toulon.
It was like a karate kick. I think we were both commentating, weren't we? And it was, yeah, he's a maverick is probably a good word. I've seen him attempting drop goals from 60 metres, but he'd probably say it's all for territory.
Well, right now the territory is Perpignan's as they come through with Tamalolo. We saw Luke Narroway on for Henry Tuolangi. He'll be sniffing out loose ball if Daniel Leo can free it up now inside the opposition 22. Hook trying to keep the pace on the game. The big runners in midfield. Hook again stepping in. Draw just a thought that he might be able to get through that gap. Gets the support of Strokos. Strokos turned turtle on the try line, but the ball's still there for the home side. Pressing for that third try and a little bit of breathing space. Tamalolo gets his hands on the ball. The support comes in from his friends in the pack. There's Strokos having another go. Rebuffed, but Perpignan have to get points out of these attacks. They know that Toulouse will come back at them. It's spun out, they've got huge opportunity out to the left, and it doesn't come much bigger than that man, Sebastian Barmahina. His brother scored at the beginning. I beg your pardon, it was Sebastian Taufifenua who scored at the beginning of the first half. It's Sebastian Barmahina who scores at the beginning of the second, and elation in the stands.
Yeah, very nicely crafted try here. Lovely pass from Hook. And Vahat Mahina almost tries to butcher it there by taking too much contact. But again, Hook just runs straight, lovely pass out. And Maydar was never going to stop him, even with the Wolverine facial hair. And again, we see Leo here, just beautifully coming through. Toulouse start to drop off tackles, which will worry the coaching staff. But again, good use of space, and just had the numbers out wide.
Farmina and Maydar, of course, French international compatriots through the Six Nations, but there was only going to be one winner in that particular clash. It helps to be 6'7" and 19.5 stone in that situation. Just the points on the board at the beginning of the second half that Perpignan were hoping for, to reward them for their effort, but also to reward them for their composure.
Yeah, definitely. As we see Hook here, we'll just watch this attempt. Beautiful kick right through the post, but Perpignan starting this half as they did the first. You know, real intent, pace, possession. The ball goes out to Hook. And again, lovely pass, fielded well. A good try.
Well, just what the locals wanted, just what Marc Delpaux will have hoped for when he sent his team out from the hutches after the break. 12 points now. Does that give Perpignan the chance to breathe through the rest of this game? They will know that Toulouse have that capacity, that capability to retort and come back at any given opportunity. Concentration now critical, particularly in these next 5-10 minutes. David Mellet wearing 20 for Perpignan. Leicester bound at the end of this season, but now heart and soul into Perpignan's cause for the next half an hour of this game. Cazenave, how hard he's worked through the 49 minutes he was on. A little more structured scrum half, one of these French halfbacks that has the capacity to play 9 and 10 but also kick the point should he be needed. Just be able to take a little more responsibility perhaps from James Hook's shoulders to manage the game and put Perpignan into the right areas.
The scoreline stays the same. You want a good game manager at 9. I think as the minutes kind of draw on, you'd expect Perpignan to play a bit more territory, use the kicking game from 9 and 10. But at the moment, the injection of pace onto the ball has been very impressive.
Matanavo has the strapping applied to allow him to continue. Not sure whether that break will serve either side particularly well. I guess Perpignan make the most of it just to talk amongst themselves, to cajole each other into maximising effort and concentration and discipline. You saw it in the first half that ill discipline allowed Toulouse back into the game. They cannot allow that now, and that penalty goes to the home side.
You get the sense of the crowd, don't you, as well, building up now.
We've always talked about Stade Mijaral as a bear pit for opposition teams to go. It's certainly not the place that Toulouse have enjoyed going to. Only one occasion in 15 trips have they left with the spoils. That tells its own story, and if James Hook can keep the pressure on them, territorial in particular, it will turn the screw on a Toulouse team which has been inconsistent at best this season. They've lost more than half of their games on the road. Guinoves will know that perhaps a little experience, especially in the huge form there of Yannick Josian, may be what's called for now, just to keep cool heads in a circumstance like this, not go chasing the game.
Yeah, good substitution at a good time. You feel for Toulouse. What Josian does so well is get through the tackle and bring players onto him. He's a really big, strong man, stays on his feet so well and loves the offload. I'm sure they'll try to utilise him in the midfield and then bring their quicker runners onto the ball.
Interesting to see whether Josian goes into a full-back role. They rejig their back line. Josian, of course, has played in the 15 shirt many a time for Toulouse and indeed for France as well. The Perpignan forwards mixing it well with their opposite numbers. Now it's into the backs. Hume gets the offload in. Farid Sid thinking about a second try, but just getting an over-enthusiastic support from the follow-up runners. And it's going to be Toulouse with a chance to catch their breath.
Tout le monde, calmez-vous, calmez-vous. Il y a deux qui plongent sur le ballon.
Good pace again, lovely fixed line from Hook. Hume onto the ball, and Sid's been electric all night. Every one of those balls was in front of the player, and he was just running onto it. But again, the infringement going off his feet in the contact.
And Sid, another who's rumoured to be leaving Perpignan's squad at the end of the season in his second spell with Blood and Golds. Had a trip to Colomiers, then to Brive before returning. Christopher Tolofua now hooking for Toulouse. What a dynamic, vibrant, sometimes volatile player he is. Perpignan will not want to allow him to get running with any momentum down the channels around their 9 and 10, because he is a destructive player, to say the least, and Lionel Boxis may well be looking for that little inside pop ball a little more often now, with the likes of the 19-year-old Tolofua on the park. Josian, 34 years of age. Take from Strokosh. Two former Gloucester men. Combining, Narroway there as well, of course. David Mele beats the exit from the 22. Gael Fickou, who's been moved out to the wing slot and couldn't take that high ball. Medar comes up to support. Whisk out to that left wing to Yves Dongui. David in support as Toulouse try and set a platform to mount attacks and soften this Perpignan defence up. Narroway, real deterrent and irritant. The breakdown, the ball's still there for the visitors. Good tackling from Adrien Plante. Who's going to be one of Jamie Roberts' new teammates next season at Racing Metro. Just getting a little feisty there. David Mele not happy with the fact that the ball wasn't going to come back on his side.
C'est formé, après le hockey formé, il faut qu'il lâche parce qu'il n'était pas là au début.
James Hook just taking the ball into the contact, and well, it wasn't going to come back quickly, was it? That's for sure.
What a position you want your head as well, where your head's the other side and your body's facing not sideways, but almost facing straight on. There, a lot of boots coming through. A lot of the game this evening has been at that breakdown. Alain Roland has been, you know, quite measured in that area. It's been consistent. It's been quite sticky. It hasn't been a clean game at the breakdown.
Those French internationals within the two squads will know all about Alain Roland's refereeing, and will remember him, no doubt, on the summer tour to New Zealand, because he's refereeing one of the test matches out there. You remember what happens when Alain Roland referees France and New Zealand, don't they? One of the best referees in international circuits, no question about that. Certainly one of the most experienced. There's an inexperienced prop coming on. Cyril Bay with his first European experience, another of the Toulouse Academy. Guy Neves is looking to blood through this quarter-final. Call it a risk, but in the bigger picture, they will prove to reap dividends further down the line.
It's a young man's game now, Wardy. It's not a risk.
He says relieved. Sitting in a chair watching rugby. What could be better? Perpignan know what could be better with this break if they could just release the ball. It's still there. Narroway looks to straighten it up, but bounces off his own man. And he's going to concede possession. Tamalolo shakes his head, but Luke Narroway saw the opportunity. Didn't actually stop a tackler, did he? Most referees seem to allow that if it doesn't affect the tackling team. It's Guillaume Girardeau, the first incursion into that black line.
Crouch! Touch! Set!
New ingredients into the front row combat. Safe to say, I think Sano Tamalolo not happy with that decision.
Yeah, could you tell?
Okay.
Mind you, I've never seen a front row actually agree with any scrum decision, so unexpected. There's another front row, Gian Montes into the tight head berth now for Toulouse as both coaches try and utilise their benches. Toulouse in particular to change the course of this game. Work towards the hour mark. 2-score difference. Perpignan are happy with the lead, no doubt, but certain that it's not going to be enough before the end of this match. Up to halfway. Boxis throws out wide to Meda. Fiku appearing on the right wing now since Matanavu's exit. Josian trying to set him up as a fulcrum for the next attack. Runners are there. So, Chateau losing possession though. Suddenly Perpignan come round and hoist the ball towards the opposition 22. Meda. Oh, cool work. As a former fullback, you must really appreciate the way that he did that. Never in doubt, is it?
Well, no, it wasn't. It didn't look like it. It bounced into his arms, which was lucky. But yeah,
he knew it was going to, surely.
Of course he did. Yeah, fullbacks always do.
Josian gets the ball through the tackle. Did it go forward? No, say the officials. And Maka is going to charge his way over for Toulouse's first try. The crowd are not happy with it. They thought Josian got the ball through the tackle and the offload went forward. Edwin Maka was not going to wait though. Well, let's take a look at this.
So we see Toulouse here. The ball goes to ground.
17.
Oh, nice offload. That's marginal, isn't it? But again, it's part of how Toulouse play. Lovely offload, completely perplexed Perpignan out wide. And then Maka. Again, Josian, since he's come on, has been brilliant. He's really shored up that midfield. Look at this offload. Again, it is marginal, but the ref has made his decision. Something which Toulouse haven't done so far in this game is break free in those wider spaces. And since Josian's come on, they've started to not only shore up and stand on their feet in midfield, but also play a bit wider. As we see here, he comes round. Look at this, he just has the awareness. That's forward probably.
I don't think there's much probably in it. You could see the Perpignan players stopping. Well, that is a contentious call by the officials. Is it going to change the course of this game? Has it given Toulouse the lifeline to get themselves back into this quarter-final and press for another step in Europe this season? Well, how are Perpignan going to react? You can hear how the crowd are reacting. There's Luke Pearce on this near side, who was happy with the setup, but the locals are perplexed, to say the least.
Yeah, I think it's a bad call, isn't it? In the review, judges will come up for some stick there.
Well, the hour mark ticks past, and it's still 5 points the difference. The final 20 minutes that is going to decide which team takes another step in Europe.
Hey.
Of course, there's a home semi-final on offer. We don't know whether it's going to be Bath or Stade Francais, the opposition.
We had no problems with scrums until all you guys came on.
Who is going to hold their nerve?
We've had penalty,
Who is going to get their noses over the line first?
Now. Understood? Okay, keep it up. Here we are. Scrum.
Crouch! Touch! Set!
Again, the props sniff the turf. Again, the penalty goes against Perpignan. It's Malolo getting the verdict against him from Roland on that occasion. Toulouse know all about winning European matches from tight situations. We've seen that over so many years. Part of the reason why they're 4 times Heineken Cup champions. Is this going to be the first season, though, when they become Amlin Challenge Cup champions? Tolofua checking the line-out call. Another platform for Toulouse to mount the attack, but the pressure beginning to tell on the young hooker. Going squint with that throw. Experienced heads of Miller-Schlusky and Lamberley. You can see just getting a little bit frazzled.
Yeah, that was a very poor throw. Flat, wonky.
Flippinua, such a huge alp to throw the ball over. Obviously puts pressure on the hooker.
See what he's done there.
Touch! Set!
Got the outs in.
Fred is still away. Melee puts the ball in. Narroway allows his scrum half to boot the ball away from danger. And Melee, as I mentioned, will be appearing at Welford Road on a more regular basis from next season. Similar type of scrum half, I guess, to Sylvain Dupree, and what a great favourite he turned out to be for the Tigers.
Yeah, an important position for the Tigers, scrum half. They've always had a good foundation and very crucial for them.
And working better for the visitors as the forwards look to see if there's any gaps around the fringe. Miller-Schlusky, one of the more experienced heads now in that Toulouse pack.
Use it!
The lead setting up position for Maka to make the next incursion. Burgess ships it on. Oh, Tolofua losing it in the tackle. Good pressure defence from the home side, and they're going to get the penalty as well. Oh, what happened there? The crowd didn't like it. David Melee down, clutching his face. Can I say it? Touch of the footballers. Leo not happy with what went on.
Well, he came flying in, didn't he? He was
Off.
Oh, a red card for Daniel Leo. Well, we know Alain Roland is not afraid to make the big calls. There is a big call in this quarter-final because Perpignan now have to face the last quarter of an hour with 14 men. There's Leo coming through with the swinging arm on Tolofua. Well, has that red card changed the course of this match?
well, you know, that was tough to see in real time there, but in the slow motion, I mean, that's a good call, needed to go, and you know, he may have just compromised his whole team by this reckless piece of play. I mean, what was he doing?
Well, nothing like a clear out from the Samoan international. An experienced man, Daniel Leo. 31 times he's trodden the international pitch for his country. But blood just racing to his head with whatever went on there. It didn't need that swinging forearm. And Alain Roland making the right decision. There's
Qui est capitaine maintenant?
Ooh.
the contact there.
Up.
Mark, who's captain
He's going to
for
be
these two
slightly
now?
frustrated that he got a little knock to the head there, to be
Captain
fair.
number?
And that's probably made him come back with some sort of retaliation. As you see,
It's what he saw from Christopher Tolofua going through on Mele that ignited the ire of Daniel Leo. But Mark Delpoux
20, okay.
cannot be, well, not happy with the decision, but understandably will have to concur that it was the right decision.
if you look at the facts, it was a sending off offence, wasn't it? You'd assume, well, the assumption is he was frustrated, he got a little knock himself, probably went to his head and just came back and...
The red mist descended and the red card was produced. And Perpignan now, well, if they didn't have their work cut out before, they certainly have now. These last 6 minutes, they will feel aggrieved because the try from Maka looked to have a forward pass to set it up. And now Daniel Leo's ill discipline, is it going to cost them a semi-final place?
There's only 14 men for Perpignan now. You know, Leo was one of the key go-forward players. You know, the momentum he was getting in attack will be something that they will miss in this last 15 minutes.
Well, Leo is really a leader within the Perpignan pack. And now, 7 remaining forwards have to keep their cool, have to keep their focus. Most importantly, have to keep their determination and resilience to keep Toulouse out. Ball back into the hands of Tolofua, but I think there was a knock forward. Greg Garner indicating it to the referee. Let's just have a listen.
Real obstruction here.
No, it wasn't obstruction. It was against blue. It was a deliberate knock-on.
Deliberate knock on here.
Yeah, deliberate knock-on. 20.
Deliberate knock-on against David Mele is the call.
Penalty's going to be in.
Penalty's going to be in about
15.
6 metres.
Okay. Is it just a penalty or?
Just a penalty.
Okay. Pas encore.
Well, Toulouse might feel a little disappointed that they didn't allow play to continue, but the result is it's going to be a penalty opportunity. And what is the call going to be? Just to see who's going to make the call, because of course Florian Fritz is off the park. I think Gregory Lambelet and Yannick Josian, the captain's committee, and they've opted for the scrum, trying to make the most of that man advantage. Guineves calling from the sidelines. There was the block of the ball.
So there's so many moving parts to a game of rugby, isn't there? Because again, infringement by Perpignan should have been a Toulouse try.
The power play from the Toulouse pack. Respite though for the home forwards. They're going to have to reset. There's that man sense opportunity, Julien Galland. Toulouse number 8, hoping that his tight 5 can use their superiority in numbers. No number 8 at the back of the Perpignan pack. They've gone in with 7. Again, they've gone to ground. Well, all sorts of psychological ploys going on, you suspect, within the confines of that scrum as Novez and Jean-Baptiste Elasalde just work out what their next play is going to be. The clock keeps ticking. Just a tries difference on the scoreboard. How important could these plays be for the outcome of the game? Gallan has melee all over him, but the penalty is there for the visitors. And this match just beginning to boil now. It's been on the simmer for the last 20 minutes maybe longer, but now it's beginning to come to the boil as the reality of what's on offer becomes more vivid in the minds of players and fans alike. The crowd trying to be the extra man that's missing, trying to make their voices heard, make their voices count, but Toulouse put the pressure on Gallan, feeds out, Luke Burgess almost gets away from the tackle, but in trying to replace the ball, gives away the penalty, and look at the elation within those forwards.
Could be a defining moment there for Perpignan. Burgess got caught on his own. Toulouse had to take it that way. Burgess, who thought he was in here, just needed a man outside. But again, great scrambling defence from Perpignan, and Toulouse just weren't there in support.
Manic defence from Melee works wonders for the home side, and now they've just got to draw breath and look to go again. Can they keep the possession? Can they keep their discipline? Oh, what a quarter-final this is turning out to be. I said at the top of the game, it has a different ingredient when you have two teams from the same country. The familiarity obviously is there. How is it going to impact now on the final chapter of this game as Yves Dongui tries to step his way back into the Perpignan half? Boxis moves it on to Josian. A bit of a rainbow pass from Josian, almost puts his team in trouble. Conte was sniffing the bouncing ball, but it's still in the clutches of Toulouse. Montez moves it on to Tolofua. The thought of a sidestep, Miloslawski decides on the more standard forward thrust. Josian gets the offload to Gallan, but Perpignan get their hands on it. And up they come with thoughts of a counter-attack. Toulouse quick to shuttle their numbers across to this right-hand flank. A little dab kick over the top from Melee, the bounce of the ball works for Maydar, but he's got Maffey all over him, and the penalty goes to Perpignan. 10 minutes to go, 5 points to difference. How important could this penalty be for the outcome of this quarter-final?
Absolutely crucial, I think. We see Josian again, beautiful, but just didn't continue it. A very poor offload from Josian, brilliant. Perpignan took the ball, nice line from the back from Hume. Lovely kick over, Maydar did well, but again, it's just the intent from Perpignan, smashing that ruck going forward. And I think their defence on Toulouse, when Toulouse had the ball previous, just been crabbing across the field a little bit, Toulouse. They're not like their usual kind of razor-sharp, incisive lines, and that's due to good defence from Perpignan.
Well, James Hook has been in some pressure games in his rugby career, but this kick could mean so much to his team. The drums beat for Perpignan. James Hook gives his team the breathing space they so craved for this last 10 minutes. He moves his team 2 scores away from their visitors. Can they hold on? 14 men, don't forget, with Leo watching from the sidelines. 27-19. Is it on for Perpignan?
You'd have to say a lot can happen in 8 minutes, of course. But Toulouse will rue that opportunity they had in the bottom left-hand corner with Burgess.
Ruslan Bukarou, another youngster coming on into the fray for Toulouse. Bézi, Nicolas, the brother of Sebastian Bézi, not Nicolas Bézi. Sebastian, like his brother, a half-back. Nicolas now, of course, having moved from Toulouse to Stade Francais. Sebastian Bézi make a difference. Perpignan, though, with their hands on the ball. How they would love to just be able to stuff it up the jumper for the next 7.5 minutes. Away sets it up for Melee to spin it wide, putting width on the ball. Gavin Hume, it's not Gavin Hume, I beg his pardon, it's Sofiane Guiton, stumbling towards halfway. Excitement and the adrenaline is going to be pumping through the bodies of that Perpignan team right now. Kick works well from David Melee. That's what we were talking about when he came on at a scrum half. How often we say Le Petit Général in France, but that type of dominating halfback that can really manage the game and put the team into the places they need to be.
Yeah, good decision at the right time there.
Perpignan now working overtime to keep Toulouse stuck inside their 22. Said they've done the double this season. They also won the last game in the season before, so this would be 4 on the trot, but no question this would be the most valuable of victories. Bézi trying to spark a Toulouse counter-attack, but whilst they're deep in their 22, Perpignan can set up that blue line, pressure the ball carrier. Forwards trying to get some momentum, but you can see how they're just having to work in field and losing possession. Well, Marc Delpoux doesn't smile much, but believe me, that's a smile in his language. Delighted with the efforts of his team, and now be even more delighted if James Hook can continue his 100% kicking ratio.
Yeah, it goes back to Perpignan's excellent defence again. You see here, Romarin just literally going low, putting the pressure. Toulouse are just trying to force it now. They've had no incisiveness. They had a spark with Josian. He's a bit of a single man at the moment in the midfield, trying to create something. And the rest of the team are crabbing across field, and Perpignan playing right into their hands because their gain line defence and their pace in the contact in that specific area has been very, very good this evening.
Well, the Blood and Golds delighted with the way that their team have maintained their composure almost in adversity in the middle portion of this second half. Thought they were in charge of the game at 24-12. Back have come the French champions. Leo getting that red card spelt danger. They've done what they needed to do. And now James Hook is going to increase that cushion for Marc Delpoux' side. 15 points from the boot of the Welshman. Hasn't missed a kick in 6 opportunities this evening. And the flags are flying for Perpignan. Well, Toulouse came here with a changed team from the team that defied Racing at the Stade de France last weekend. Thought they were good enough and confident enough to change things around and give other people an opportunity. It hasn't proved to be the case. Perhaps a little lack of familiarity within the way this team have set up has not helped them through the course of this game. As experienced as a lot of them are, Now trying to force the pass. Maka puts it out of the back door. Gael Fickou trying the sidestep, but he's deep inside his own half. Perpignan would be happy if Toulouse are trying to play the rugby inside their own half right now. Tolofua gets the offload away. Lambelet likewise to see if Medard can move the team back up into danger territory. But the clock is Perpignan's friend right now. They've got to hold out for another 2.5 minutes as Josian tries to get some more momentum into Toulouse's attack. And I think that ball has been pickpocketed. Indeed it has. Oh, they thought they had it back as Ricala set it back, but it's fallen back into the possession of Toulouse. Josian didn't see the man coming up on his blind side. Netherlands, well, the coolest head in 15,030. The songs ring out from the stands. Jubilation at the thought of what might be. Of course, there were other variations in Perpignan's trip to Europe's top table for next season. Amongst them, of course, Clermont, Montpellier winning. Toulouse possibly winning this tournament. Other variations in terms of, well, getting up from 7th to 6th, but right now, Marc Delpoux delighted with his lot.
Crouch! Touch! Set!
Equals 2-0, possibly winning the Heineken Cup as well. See how that pans out on Sunday afternoon. You can watch it all here live on Sky Sports this weekend. What a weekend of rugby it is as Bézi tries to make the most of any opportunity to speed things up, to get Toulouse into some sort of scoring zone. He sets the ball back, but it's gone forward. The referee's arm points to Perpignan, and Perpignan are pointing towards victory now. A deserved victory, Matt?
Yeah, I think so, very much. 3 tries to 1. The Toulouse try was pretty debatable. I think Perpignan have been excellent in defence. Bit of ill discipline in the first quarter of the game. Just Toulouse just haven't played to their framework. You know, they've run across the pitch. They've just struggled to get any form. So I think Perpignan have just been the team with a better attitude. They know that they could use this avenue, you know, for Europe next year. And I think, you know, they deserved winners.
Well, as the clock ticks down now to its inevitable conclusion, what an evening it's been for Perpignan. Everything went to plan. The beginning of each half, getting tries on the board, putting them in front. Then tried to Maka, somewhat contentious with the forward pass. The red card to Dan Leo. Suddenly the question marks must have been appearing in the minds of players and fans alike, but they've held on. James Hook has done his job from the tee. Now it's Toulouse facing more European disappointment this season. The clock moves into the red. The last play is on, but it really matters not. It's too much and too far for Toulouse to do anything about it now. The ball moved to the left once again. Lambelet hasn't stopped all evening, but it hasn't worked for Toulouse. More European disappointment for Guy Novès and his squad. Elation for Perpignan. Tries at the beginning of each half from the 2 Sebastians, Tao Fifanoa and Var Mahina. Farid Sid with the try at the end of the first half as well. James Hook, 15 points from the tee, a perfect kicking performance from the Welsh fly half. And it is Perpignan who can now look forward to a semi-final in the Amlin Challenge Cup in 3 weeks' time. An eventful game, terrific rugby entertainment. It's finished with Perpignan the victors, 30 points to 19.